Hello, and welcome to the show that's the #1 sponsor of degenerate combos on Ravnica. In keeping with the Ravnica hype train, I thought we could look at combos that involve the guild mages of Ravnica, both past and present. Today we'll be looking at 4 guilds, Orzhov, Dimir, Simic, and Izzet, and what shenanigans you can pull off with their respective mages. Now, I didn't think that each of these cards needed its own video, so I put them all into one here. So this video might be a bit longer, but we'll just see how it goes. That's what we do here. We wing it. Okay, first off, Orzhov. Let's do this. So the guild mage representative for Orzhov is Vizkopa Guild Mage. Like all guild mages, you pay that guild's colors, and you get a 2/2 with 2 abilities. Vizkopa Guild Mage's first ability costs white, black, and 1, and it lets you give a creature lifelink. Pretty boring, but for the same mana cost, the second ability makes it so that whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. That's a pretty gross ability on its own, but with just one other card, you get a combo, and that card is Exquisite Blood, which is essentially the inverse of the Guild Mage's ability, saying whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. So if you activated the Guild Mage and you have Exquisite Blood on the battlefield, all it takes is for you to gain 1 life, or an opponent to lose 1 life, to trigger this cycle, draining everyone at the table in the process. But the Guild Mage isn't the only card that pairs with Exquisite Blood. Yeah, her second ability has actually been reprinted on other cards like Sanguine Bond and Defiant Bloodlord, and even made a bit slower on other cards like Epicure of Blood and Cliffhaven Vampire. But all of the cards still combo with Exquisite Blood for lethal if they're not removed. But that's not all that Vizkopa Guild Mage gives us. From Ravnica Allegiance, we have another new card to combo with the Guild Mage, and that's the Revenge half of Revival and Revenge, which states, double your life total, target opponent loses half of their life, rounded up. So, if you have at least half the life of an opponent, you can activate Vizkopa Guild Mage and play Revenge, and you kill that opponent. Here's some quick math for an example. If you have 15 life, an opponent has 30, and you play Revenge, you double your life total, gaining 15 life, and then your opponent loses half of their life, losing 15 life. And then because you gain 15 life, the Guild Mage triggers, meaning each opponent loses 15 life, killing the one that you halved. This combo also works with Sanguine Bond and Defiant Bloodlord, but not Epicure of Blood or Cliffhaven Vampire, because those two only care about whether you gained life and not how much life you gained. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's go to Dimir. Here we have our Dusk Mantle Guild Mage. Its first ability is her 1 black and a blue. Until end of turn, if a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, they lose 1 life. A second ability says target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard, or in other words, they mill 2. Okay, so we're concerned with the first ability, the one that causes life loss. And this combos with a 2-cost artifact, Mindcrank, that says whenever an opponent loses life, they mill that many cards. And that's it. That's a combo. If you activate the Guild Mage's ability with Mindcrank out and a card hits an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, they take 1 damage, and then they mill 1 because of Mindcrank, and then they take another damage because of the Guild Mage's ability, and then they mill another 1 from Mindcrank, and so on and so on. It's a nice simple combo, but the Guild Mage isn't the only card that can do this. You can get the same effect with Bloodchief Ascension. For 1 black, you get an enchantment that says, at the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 2 or more life this turn, you may put a quest counter on Bloodchief Ascension. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if Bloodchief Ascension has 3 or more quest counters on it, you may have that player lose 2 life. If you do, you gain 2 life. So same process, whenever a card hits a graveyard, they lose 2 life and Mindcrank mills them for 2, and then they lose 4 life and Mindcrank mills them for 4, etc, etc. The plus side is that you gain a butt ton of life in the process, but it doesn't really matter because everyone else is going to be dead. Next up is Simic, the guild that is close to my heart. And we got 2 guild mages from the green and blue, the first one being Zamorak Guild Mage, and new from Ravnica Allegiance, Combine Guild Mage. Both of which care about +1/+1 counters, and you know what that means? Yes, for green and blue on Zamorak Guildmage and 1 green and tap on Combine Guildmage, you can make it so creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter this turn. Now combine this with a Persist creature like Woodfall Primus and you got yourself a combo. You see, Persist is an ability that says when a creature dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, it returns to the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter. But if you activate these guild mages, the creature will also return to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. And when a +1/+1 counter and a -1/-1 counter are on a creature together, they cancel each other out and both are removed. So when Woodfall Primus dies again this turn, it comes back again. This gets disgusting when a Persist creature has an enter the battlefield effect like Woodfall Primus, where it destroys a non-creature permanent, or gaining life, or dealing damage. Throw in a sack effect and you got yourself an amazing combo. Isn't it wonderful how well the Persist mechanic has aged? Okay, last stop, Izzet, with the more complicated combo, which is actually quite fitting for the Izzet when you think about it. But first we need our Guild Mage, which is the OG Izzet Guild Mage. For 2 and a red, you can copy target sorcery spell you control with converted mana cost 2 or less. You may choose new targets for the copy. And for 2 and a blue, you can do the same thing but with an instant spell, but we don't care about that. We only give a shit about the sorceries. So to combo off, we need a Lava Spike and a Desperate Ritual. For 1 red, Lava Spike is an arcane sorcery that deals 3 damage to target opponent. And for 1 in a red, you get Desperate Ritual, which adds 3 red mana to your mana pool, but it also has this ability called Splice onto Arcane. This says that when you cast an arcane spell, you can reveal Desperate Ritual from your hand and pay 1 in a red to add its effect, the add 3 red mana to your mana pool effect, onto that arcane spell. Okay, let's go to the battlefield to explain the rest of this. So here we are, the wonderful battlefield. On it we have Izzet Guildmage, we have Lava Spike and Desperate Ritual in our hand, and we have at least 6 mana available, with at least 3 of them being red. So first we cast our Lava Spike for 1 red. We then splice our Desperate Ritual onto it and pay the 1 in red cost. The Lava Spike with the ritual effect then goes on the stack. We can then use a Guildmage's ability to pay 2 in a red to copy a sorcery spell with converted mana cost 2 or less, targeting our Lava Spike. If that resolves, we copy the Lava Spike with the ritual effect. And if that resolves, we burn our opponent for 3 and we get 3 red mana. We can then use that 3 red mana to activate the Guild Mage's ability, copying the original Lava Spike again, and then we can repeat that process over and over again, burning out our opponent. And that's all I got for the Guild Mages. 4 different combos, 4 different color combinations. Kinda neat, eh? Have you ever tried to pull any of these off? Will you now that you know about them? Let me know down below. And as always, if you like Combo Breakdown or any of the other less professional shit I do on this channel, like, subscribe, comment, and ring YouTube's bell. Give it a ring-a-ding-ding. And until next time, I will see you right back here on the internet.